today. I'm doing a testimonial, Mentor Me testimonial, talking to my mentee Briyyah about her major salary increase and new value aligned career role. I love hosting these testimonials and giving my mentees an opportunity to get in front of my audience and share their story and just talk about the transformative power of the Mentor Me Accelerator program. So it looks like Briyyah is jumping into the room. So I'm so excited to have her here and invite her into this conversation to share her story, how she learned about the Mentor Me Accelerator, and what she got from the program. So really excited to have her here. Hey, Briyyah.
Hi.
So glad to have you join me. It is always such a pleasure to invite my mentees in this community and share the power and impact of mentorship on their career development and how they leverage the strategies in the Mentor Me Accelerator program to really elevate their careers and giving you the opportunity to share your story. I'll be asking you lots of questions about your experience in the program and really just giving you the floor to talk about how you leverage the strategies to really advance your career. So I'd like to start off these conversations just by asking mentees how they first came to learn about me and my work in career development and mentorship. I know people find me, in all kinds of different ways. For some people, it's through my podcast. For some people, it's through Instagram. Maybe you joined my email list, or maybe it was a referral from a friend. So can you share a bit about how you came to learn more about me and my work in career development?
Yes, so I was at the NASPA conference maybe like a year and a half ago,
Mhm.
and you led a session on managing up.
Mhm.
And I attended that session, and managing up was definitely something that I was struggling with at that time, working with my manager. And I was like, wow, the skills and the way that you broke down how to navigate a tough management direct report relationship. I was like, wow, this is super valuable. And so when I thought about later that year, I thought about making a career transition, but didn't have a lot of courage. So I had started following you on Instagram after the
Mhm.
conference, and I saw the different things you posted, and I was like, this might be a good time for me to access mentorship. And so that's how I came to find out about all the great things you do.
Yes, thank you so much for telling that story. I do so much professional development. I regularly travel to conferences. This spring, I think I've been to two conferences. One, the National Conference on Race and Ethnicity. I attended the NASPA, National Association of Student Affairs Professionals annual conference, and I actually attended another conference, the National Association for Career and Employer. So I am someone who not only deeply believes in career development and coaching for the clients and women that I serve, but I deeply believe in it for myself. And it's always a great space for me to connect with other professionals. And so I'm so glad that we connected through those associations. And I think that for anybody listening, if you've never invested in yourself to attend a professional conference, whether it's a regional conference, whether it's a national or international conference, heck, even if it's an online or virtual conference, if that's all that you can get to, leveraging professional development is a great way for you to meet potential mentors or other people's sponsors who can help you elevate your career. So take every advantage to attend professional development because it can only grow your network. So you talked about the fact that, when you first heard me speak, you were really challenged by managing up. And that idea of managing up, for those who are listening may not be familiar, it really is just the concept of inviting your supervisor, your manager, your leader into a higher level of accountability, being able to more effectively communicate with your manager or supervisor, to both communicate your needs and to better understand and learn what their expectations are. And so you said that, after you hearing me speak, you're like, yes, this is something I'm struggling with. I'm learning a lot from this. And you started watching my videos on Instagram and learning more about my work. So can you talk a little bit about the space where you were at? It's the space where you were in professionally when you said, you know what, I want to go from a casual observer of Ashley and her work in mentorship to I need to hire this woman to help me with my career. Can you talk a little bit about where you were in your career when you made that transition?
Yeah, I had been in my previous role for maybe about going on 6 years,
Okay.
and I felt like if there was any time to make a transition, it was at this time. I felt that had I stayed in my current position any longer, I would have stayed there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I was in a middle management position, so I really wanted to transition into a director level role, but wasn't sure exactly how to go about doing that. Nothing was changing at my organization or within my team structure to move me out of
Sure.
middle management. So I needed to think about where I could go and what I could do. And I also realized that I had done um, the same work for those 6 years, and I wanted to try something different. I know I had so many transferable
Mm-hmm.
skills that I had developed, so I really wanted to test that out. And I felt like I wanted to talk with someone who was in the higher ed space, but also someone who had helped other folks with a track record,
Yeah.
where I could definitely see a return on my investment in my career.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. And I want to pull out some of the themes that you talked about, Briyyah. Lots of people ask me, like, how do I know when I need mentorship? How do I know when I'm, at the point where I need to invest in help? Ashley, I've been following you for years. Can I just keep consuming your YouTube videos? Like, won't that help me get the $30,000 salary increase that I'm looking for? And let me be clear, my free content is the bomb. So, if you're following me here and you're applying the strategies that I teach, in my free content, you're absolutely going to learn a lot. But the magic of mentorship, the magic of my programs is that we can just go so much deeper and we can move at a faster pace. We can be much more accelerated because we're going to have focused energy, and you're going to have not just access to my content, my recorded content, but you're also going to have access to me each day, in and out, every week, twice a week, kind of working with you in your career development. And so some of the things that Briyyah really talked about is that at the point that she recognized she wanted to go from a casual observer or collector of my content to someone who really wanted to invest in their career development, is number one, she felt stuck. Like she had been doing the same thing for a long time and she knew she wanted to do something different. They say one of the signs of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So if you've been job searching for 3 months, for 3 years, and you're kind of doing the same thing over and over and over again, that's a sign that you need mentorship. Another sign that she talked about is that she wanted someone who had proven results, right? I have been in career development I've owned Mentor Me for more than 5 years. So I've been doing this work publicly for more than 5 years, but I have more than 20 years of experience in corporate, nonprofit, and educational leadership. I've worked in all of those industries myself and have served women in all of those industries for many, many years. And so if you're looking for a mentor with a depth of knowledge, I'm your girl, because I've worked in all of those industries and have really served folks well. So Briyyah talked about like wanting to work with someone who had deep and immense experience in her industry and who had proven results. If you visit my website, mentor-me.org, you'll see tens and tens of stories of the women that I serve, the salary increases that they receive, the bonuses that they receive, the industries they're worked in. And you don't just hear it from me, just like a write-up. You can really see the videos and them sharing their story, kind of like Briyyah's doing here today. So I think that that's really powerful, because then you can sort of see, you can do that research like it sounds like you did, Briyyah.
Mhm.
All right, so let's dive in. Now you've invested in the program, you're in the program, you're feeling kind of stuck in your career. I want to talk about the curriculum, right?
Mhm.
I think sometimes this idea of mentorship can be very mystifying for people. It's like, is it going to be like therapy? Is it going to be like school? Like, what is it going to be like? So can you describe for the folks listening, what the Mentor Me Accelerator was like as it relates to the curriculum, and, how you were sort of taught and guided through the curriculum?
Mhm. So every week I had a touch point where I could talk with someone in a group of people about my job search, my evolution of trying to move into a different position. And that was just very helpful because I was prioritizing something that was super important to me. And, when we're looking for new jobs and things, we're not just on this infinite
Right.
timeline. We are trying to get it done. And so having the space every single week was super helpful. And navigating through each progressive point of the curriculum, um, it just built on top of one another. So I started with like my values and what I really wanted and realized that those things had changed for me. So I think that making that space, one, to prioritize something that was important to me every week, but then also learning progressive skills that would get me to the point where I could have a strong resume and materials, and then strong interviews, and then strong negotiation
Yeah.
conversations if it came to that, was key here.
Yeah, I love that your storytelling of that. And I two things stand out for me. Number one is that the Mentor Me Accelerator program is very structured, right? So this isn't an inspirational and motivational message occasionally to like get out there and do the work of career development, but it's a structured bi-weekly strategy sessions and office hours where we're carving out time to do career development work together, right? So you have access to me, you have access to your peers in the program, you have access to the curriculum, you have access to templates, and you have this, dedicated time to spend working on career development every single week, multiple times a week. And so I think that oftentimes one of the reasons why job searches aren't successful is because you're doing a little bit here, doing a little bit of there. When you remember, if you have a free day or free weekend, you're exploring it. But in the Mentor Me Accelerator, it is a accelerated and focused program, and that's one of the reasons why it absolutely gets results. So I love that you talked about that focused time, and you also talked about being value aligned, and that's one of the themes of our conversation today, because Mentor Me programs are what I call value aligned. I'm a value aligned career coach. I'm very focused on making sure that my mentees, number one, know what their values are, number two, can measure the alignment of those values, and then where there's misalignment, can do the work to realign your values. So, I actually, funny story, I was in Phoenix, Arizona for a conference. Walking down the street, it's like 9:30 at night, and this girl walks up to me and she's like, "Oh my gosh, you're Ashley. You're Ashley AsShire. And your top 5 values are peace, joy, and ease. Or your top 3 values are peace, joy, and ease." And she like held my hand. And I was like, what is happening? Like, this has never happened to me before. But she was someone who followed my work online. She knows that I'm value aligned. I talk about this all the time, and I always talk about how my top values are peace, joy, and ease. And she like walked up to me and said it. And that's the kind of thing that I'm always encouraging for my mentees. Like, I want you all to be so clear on your values that it's a calling card. When they see Briyyah, they know that her top values are blank, blank, and blank. So can you talk a little bit more, Briyyah, about your journey? Now I feel like you would be able to confidently say you're a value aligned professional, right? But can you talk a little bit about that value aligned journey, like maybe what you thought your values were, what you thought they were coming into this, and the journey we went on together to really uncover what your values are and work on the alignment? Can you just walk us through that a bit?
Yeah, so I think about two values that actually have changed for me over the course of my career. So initially, I was really focused earlier in my career on stability, which is why I chose to go into education. I always say this, like there will always be children, so there needs to be schools and there needs to be people who teach them.
Yeah.
So that's how I chose my career initially. But then as I was doing the activities through the Mentor Me Accelerator, I realized that wealth actually is a priority for me right now. Um, Oftentimes, I feel as though people who may grow up in poverty or poor socioeconomic status like I did, um, we are just trying to get something secure, something that can pay the bills and us not have to worry. But as I've gotten older, I value being able to have the flexibility that unfortunately in this country comes from, you know, having access to more funds.
Yeah.
So that was something that I was absolutely looking for, and I felt like I had the skills to be able to ask for that. So that was one of the things I realized. And then the other one was I really thought that, like, I would say just having a career that was Hmm. How can I say it? Pretty straightforward, easy to understand.
Mm.
A career that's pretty like just straightforward, not
Mhm.
probably gonna, bring a lot of stress or
Mm.
flexibility. And now I realize that like innovation is something that I really value at work.
I love that.
I like to do new things. It
Mhm.
it keeps me excited about coming to work.
Yeah.
And I want to be a person who loves to do what I do. I spend a lot of time at work, so really want to enjoy it. So that's how my values have evolved. And
Mhm.
I'm really happy that they've evolved in this way because we change every day. So
Yeah.
should our careers and our
Yeah.
values.
I love that. I love that you talked about, not just the value shift, but like the mentality shift and where the prior mentality came from, right? So I love this idea. Just I can relate, growing up, in like a low income family. Definitely, it was just like go get a job, just like go get any job to sustain yourself. It doesn't matter if you like your job. It doesn't matter if you feel fulfilled in that work. It doesn't matter if you're driving impact or even if you're making, real money, just so you're making something to sustain yourself. And so sometimes we can then lowball, right, ourselves
Mhm.
into a job, a career that doesn't really serve us, but that's just sort of paying the bills and not realizing that there's more out there for us, not realizing that we can earn so much more money leveraging the skills that we have just because that's not even aware to us. And then, yeah, like like not pushing the envelope, don't do the innovative thing, don't do the creative thing, just lay low, do something that's easy enough, right? And now you're realizing like, no, that's boring, that's not engaging. I really want to drive impact. I want to do meaningful work. I want to be working in a space that's innovative and fast paced and that's dynamic, right? And I think that is such a beautiful personal journey, and I so appreciate you sharing that, and allowing me to mentor you into that evolution, like to mentor you through that evolution. That's really beautiful. So one of the things that people often ask about is, okay, I'm investing in this program. I know there's going to be curriculum. I know that, I'm going to have access to templates and other resources, but how much access am I actually going to have to Ashley as a career coach? Is she really going to be able to guide me and give me insight and speak directly to my situation? Can you talk a little bit about how our mentorship conversations and this actual sessions, and my coaching style really served you well as a mentee?
Yes, I happen to, as a student, I was the very independent type of person. So I think I
Sure.
carried that with me during this process. But one thing that, while I may love to work independently, I will ask a million questions if I don't understand something. And so what was great was that definitely during session, I knew based on the format of how the calls go, I always have time to ask questions. And as you rotated between each mentee to give them one-on-one attention around the deliverable that they were working
Mhm.
on, I never felt as though any feedback was spared.
Yeah.
I always felt like there was a process to, I work on this resume. When I go to session on the next day, I'm going to receive feedback. I'm going to be able to ask questions. And even Ashley's going to record a video that's going to get, probably going to answer my questions. Um, and that was super helpful because once I may have been done with something, I could still go back to that
Yeah.
video and watch and just give myself a refresher. So when I was preparing for interviews, I definitely went back and watched some of the videos so that I could stay fresh on, okay, um, Ashley helped me point out that this is an area of strength of mine. This is something that I definitely want to mention during an interview.
Yeah.
And so that was really helpful. As far as our mentor-mentee relationship, I knew what to expect
Yeah.
all the time, and the structure was very
Yeah.
helpful.
I love that. I love that you're talking about that again, that structure, that carved out space, and that you had, every opportunity to ask me questions, to get one-on-one support and feedback, and to make sure that you had the support that you needed. So let's talk about the success, right? A brand new role, a value aligned career, a salary increase, shift from where you were. Tell us, you don't have to disclose, details about the role or organization, but I'm really interested to know, and for you to share, what about this role really attracted you and how you were able to kind of leverage the curriculum and the things that you learned in the program to ensure that it was value aligned.
Yeah. What was so great about the role that I'm in right now is that I was approached
Yes,
about
we
this
love to see
opportunity.
it.
Yeah, so I had never really heard about the organization, or that work like this existed in this way. And I was looking honestly to try out a different industry. and to see where my skills were transferable. But somebody was able to see that from my LinkedIn, which was a part of the curriculum. And once I read through the job description, I was like, oh my God, I want this role. And um, the interviews were pretty, there were 3 interviews,
Yep.
and they were pretty quickly paced between one another. So I had to use a lot of the, interview techniques and things like that. But I think what really stood out to me about this role was someone chose me to
Yeah.
do a job that actually brings together so many of my experiences, not only as a teacher, a former teacher, but also as a higher ed professional.
Sure.
And I saw all of those marrying in it with a different industry. And I was
Mhm.
just like, this is perfect. This is exactly what I dreamed of when I said that I'm going to get a mentor and try out something different. It sort of fell in my lap, literally.
Yeah, I love that. And I guess I want to give you credit because it didn't just fall in your lap. You had to optimize and customize LinkedIn that you and I built together, leveraging strategies in session 3 of the Mentor Me Accelerator. So it was easy for employers to find you and say, hey, we want you because you so clearly, confidently, and concisely articulated your skills on LinkedIn. So you have to give yourself that credit because you did the work, right? You took the strategies in the program, you applied them to optimize your LinkedIn, and you were able to then leverage that LinkedIn to connect with employers. And I think that so often when it comes to career development, everyone's like, oh, I need to update my resume, oh, I need to learn how to network. But a big part of that the network is making sure that your materials, including your resume, your cover letter, and your LinkedIn, are really strong and carefully curated to attract the kinds of employers that you're seeking. And you were able to do just that. So kudos to you. That is awesome. So I want to kind of close this conversation with 2 questions. Question number 1, when it comes to investing in career development, oftentimes, working with me as a mentor is the first time a woman has ever thought about investing in herself and investing in herself through career coaching. And that could be really scary, right? They've never hired a career coach. They've never worked with someone. It's hard for them to anticipate, maybe paying for someone to help them with their career when they're already maybe struggling financially or not making the kind of money that they want. So can you talk a little bit to the woman who's maybe on the fence, who has thought about investing in career development or scheduling a call with me but feels a little shaky about the investment? Can you talk a little bit about your return on investment, and just how you would what feedback or encouragement you might offer?
Yeah, so the encouragement that I would offer is that what was great is that like I could do a payment plan. So
Yes.
that's always helpful, if you're kind of, just want to dip your toe in and then the rest of your leg and whatever, like you can take that approach. So I did for sure. But I knew that if I invested in myself this one time, that it would, based on what you promised or offered, I was like, that would be worth it in the long run. And I think that's what made me take the plunge. And as a result, I literally, like, I'm my first day, I just finished my first day in my new role, and the benefits were are totally worth it. The perks are just totally worth it. Like, there's an iced coffee machine here,
Yes, iced coffee machine.
and and they order lunch every day for us. So I was not, this was not happening
Yeah,
last month. So
yeah,
it's it's worth it to bet on yourself.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I love that. I love that. And I love that, like, for, like you said, Briyyah, like for so many people that's not even fathomable, right? Like it's not fathomable that I wouldn't have to pay for a $6 iced coffee and a $25 lunch every day myself. But that's perks that can come with the job. Like I can work for an employer who cares about me being fed, right? Like that's not even fathomable to a lot of people. So I'm so glad that you have that. It's absolutely what you deserve. And I'm so proud to serve as your mentor and have guided you in your career development. And as I always say to my mentees, I'm not just your mentor in session, I'm your mentor always. So I'll always be here to support you and guide you in your career development and just support you in growing and flourishing in all the ways that I know you will. As we close out the conversation, is there anything else you want to share? Any words of wisdom, any
Mhm.
encouragement to folks out there who might be listening, or any insights that you want to offer?
Yeah, I would say that, there comes a point where things start to align and you have to really just pay attention to those signs of
Mm,
those things. So it was no coincidence that I went to a session led by you, and then that a couple of months later I started this journey, um, and then I'm in the space that I am in now.
yeah.
Um, I think that you have to be brave enough to take the risk. Um, and if you really want to change your situation, you absolutely can. It just takes a first step. But often that first step takes a lot of risk. So um, without it, then you stay in the same place. So very similar to what you said in the beginning, like if you are doing the same things and expecting different results, then that's, the definition of insanity. And that's very true. In order to move, you have to move.
Yes. Yes. I love that. In order to move, you have to move. And I think what I hope folks are encouraged by is that when they move, then they're no longer moving alone, right? You take one step towards me, you take one step towards mentorship, then you're not only supported by me, but a community of other high achieving professional women who are moving along with you to advance your career, to see these salary increases, to see these free lunches, to see a more value aligned career. So that's all available to you when you walk toward it. And there's an opportunity for you to walk toward it now. I'm accepting new mentees, and I'm so excited to serve you. If you're interested in getting support with your career development, you can go right to my website at mentor-me.org. That's mentor-me.org, and schedule a call with me. I'm excited to invite new mentees into the Mentor Me Accelerator programs. Briyyah, I'm so grateful for your time and attention. Thank you for spending some time with me on your very first day at your new job. I'm just so excited for you and all that's ahead for you in this new role. And congratulations again on a job well earned.
Thank you. I appreciate all of your support and help. It is invaluable. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Congratulations. Thanks for watching. Bye.